Hey, folks! Welcome back to the Every Gen Hardcore Nuzlocke Gauntlet, the series where I have to Nuzlocke every generation of Pokemon in order of release, and if I ever wipe, I have to start back at Gen 1. In the last episode, we were able to assemble a colorful cast of critters who then were able to help me clear the first 3 gym leaders of the Johto region, including Whitney, who was taken out by our trans-masculine boy wonder, Ratman. In this episode, we enter the mid-game of Gen 2. Let's pick up right where we left off on Route 37. Our first order of business is to clear out the handful of trainers that are hanging out on the route. As we're fighting this pair of twins, the dude ends up learning self-destruct, and I end up just taking the move, you know, just in case. You never know when you might need an IED. Well, after a brief stint of battles, we make it to Ecruteak City, home of the absolute coziest song in the entire franchise. Here, let's take a second and just listen to it. Doesn't that just make you feel nostalgic? As we enter the Pokemon Center to heal up our squad, some fucking dickface ends up cutting in front of us. What an asshole! Let's go confront him about it. Oh, would you looky here, it's the guy who likes to play God. Bill. Of course he cut in front of us, that's what billionaires always do, cut the line. After introducing himself, Bill just casually drops the fact that he has recently figured out how to do time travel. Okay there, Tony Stark. After hitting us with the ultimate humble brag, he invites us to his property in Goldenrod City, an invitation that I actually take up because he has something very important to us in this run. While trying to navigate the maze that is the Goldenrod City alleys, seriously, whoever did the urban planning here deserves to be shot, we accidentally end up at the bike shop. I decide to pick up the bike, even though I will never end up using it anyways, before searching around a little bit more. We have an ominous run-in with a Team Rocket member who says some vaguely evil stuff before finally finding Bill's house. Of fucking course it's the beachfront property. We talk to him and he immediately offers an Eevee to us. I don't think I need to tell you how amazing of a gift this is, as I think the first 2 runs of Gen 1 showed as much. However, there are a couple of new additions to Eevee in this generation that are definitely worth talking about. Eevee gained 2 new evolutions in Johto, Espeon and Umbreon. Unlike Eevee's other evolutions, Espeon and Umbreon don't evolve from giving Eevee stones, but rather from the new friendship mechanic in Gen 2. You see, in Gen 2, each Pokemon has a hidden friendship number that goes from 0 to 255, and that number can be increased and decreased through several different ways. Walking around with a Pokemon in your party, leveling a Pokemon up, or doing things like giving your Pokemon a haircut in the underground path will increase friendship, while having your Pokemon faint in battle or giving it certain items will cause it to lose friendship. Some Pokemon can only evolve by maxing out their friendship before evolving, but with Eevee, there's one extra component at play with its new evolutions, the day-night cycle. If you level up an Eevee with 255 friendship during the day, it will evolve into Espeon. Espeon is a Psychic-type Pokemon, and a pretty damn good one at that. It has a pretty good speed stat for this generation, a strong special attack stat, and is able to learn some decent moves that both do damage and have some utility as well. I've heard it described as a Diet Alakazam, and that is by no means an insult. It will absolutely fill the role of a special attacker in your team if you're looking to pick one up. On the flip side, if you end up evolving your max friendship Eevee at nighttime, you will get Umbreon. Umbreon is a dark-type Pokemon who specializes in defense, and oh boy, let me tell you, does it have some good defense. Being a dark-type is already very useful in this generation because it allows you to completely shut down Psychic-type Pokemon, but also Dark is only weak to Bug and Fighting-type. Fighting-types aren't really that big of a deal in this game, except for Chuck later on, but even he only has like 2 Pokemon on his team. And while there are quite a lot of Bug-type Pokemon in this game, they still don't have a lot of great offensive moves to pick from, which means that Dark ends up being a really good type to have on a tanky Pokemon like Umbreon, because you can pretty safely switch it into pretty much anything and not take much damage at all. It's an incredibly safe Pokemon to pick up and will always be useful throughout the game. I name it Bailey after my cute little kitty, pictured here. Oh, look at her. Can you guess which evolution I'm going for here? I also once again ignore the fact that this Eevee is a male and my cat is a girl because shut up, I don't care! I end up teaching Bailey Headbutt before heading back up to Ecruteak City to start our next dungeon, the Burned Tower. Upon entering, we're stopped by a guy named Wassine? That's not a real fucking name.
Yeah, dude, my parents hated me!
He tells us that he's on the trail of a Pokemon called Suicune before asking us a rhetorical question. Oh ho ho, well look who we have here. Sup Club is just hanging out around here, I guess.
Me? Just hanging around?
We'll get to you in a second, but first, let's get our encounter. We end up catching ourselves a coughing that we name Coof! After readjusting our team, we go square up to our old pal and wanted criminal Subclub for a battle. He cries about how he's looking for some legendary Pokemon here, but he can't find it. Oh, boo-hoo. So he decides he's gonna take out his rage on us. Fine. Challenge accepted.
Let's hug it out, bitch.
I lead with Kenya into his Haunter. Because Kenya is a normal type, Subclub's Haunter can't actually do much of anything to Kenya, so after Haunter curses and 2 pecks later, Kenya emerges victorious. Next comes Magnemite, so I bring in the dude, who is able to catch a Thunder Shock no problem and then dodge a Sonic Boom the next turn, which allows her to fire back with a Magnitude, which takes down Magnemite in a single hit. This prompts Subclub to bring in his starter, Bayleaf, but we don't have to worry because I brought Scree again! Scree gets the poison up much sooner this time, and Bayleaf tries to follow up with a barrier to soak up some damage, but unfortunately, Scree has learned Nightshade, a move that does flat damage based on the user's level, so we're able to shred through Bayleaf like it's nothing. Lastly is Zubat, which prompts me to throw in the dude. The dude gets confused by a Supersonic on the switch-in, and while she does hit herself once in confusion, she's ultimately able to clean up the rest of the fight. After our fight concludes, the structural integrity of the floor just gives out underneath us and we fucking die. Nah, just kidding. Subclub talks some shit as we fall into the lower levels and encounter 3 of these hamsters? Dogs? Horses? I don't fucking know, man. One of them seems to take a liking to us before scuttling off. We run into Wasine again, who begins to cry because he caught a 0.2-second glimpse of Suicune after searching for it for like 10 years. We literally just stumbled by it on accident. Skill issue. After we resurface, I decide to talk to this old man who hits us with a lore drop that those 3 Pokemon what? They died in a fire that burned this tower down, but some bird came out of nowhere and brought them back to life? Damn, that's some riveting lore right there, I guess. Well, after all of that, let's get back to what really... Oh my god. Why did I write this? Well, after all of that, let's get back to what really matters. Fighting women! We rearrange our team a bit before heading on over to the dance studio to fight some geisha. The gimmick here is that each one of them has an evolution, so we need to have something to counter each one of them. Okay, so I actually don't know which dancer has which evolution. Are they maybe color-coded? Let's try the red one and see if she has Flareon, and nope, that's definitely not right. Well, that's okay, we can still make this work. The dude can hit pretty hard. I open with Mud Slap, but oh no, it has Pursuit. Pursuit is a dark-type move that will hit your Pokemon for double damage if you try to switch out on the turn it's used. And because all dark type moves are special in Gen 2, the dude doesn't have great defensive stats to take any of those. On top of that, the first Pursuit ends up critting for double damage, giving me a sneak peek of what will happen if I try to switch. I hit the Mud Slap and drop its accuracy, but we take another Pursuit, bringing us below half, and our following Magnitude only rolls a 6, not dealing nearly as much damage as I would have liked. I am now effectively Pursuit trapped, the state of being unable to switch out without the risk of dying to a Pursuit. I am already in danger of another Pursuit potentially killing me via crit, but if I switch out, I am also guaranteed to die from a Pursuit if the AI decides to go for it. I have no choice but to stay in with the dude and hope she can clutch it out. We luck out as Umbreon goes for a Sand Attack, which ends up missing, and the dude ends up rolling a 9 on Magnitude, finishing off the Umbreon and getting us out of that dicey situation. She absolutely abided there. We very easily could have lost one of our best Pokemon there if things had played out just a little bit differently. I challenge the dancer on the left and she ends up having the Flareon, who the dude is able to take out with little issue. I then try the one on the right and it's the Jolteon, who the dude also gobbles up no problem. Next up is the dancer with the Vaporeon, who Expensive is able to kill very slowly and painfully with Leech Seed Stall. It's genuinely so funny how many fights can be auto-won with this strategy, if you have the patience for it, that is. After that fight, my mom calls us and says she accidentally spent her money after promising she wouldn't. Wow, thanks a lot, Mom. Hey, wait a minute, can you... Oh my god, you can stage dive.
Get up here! Get the fuck up here! I need to see some bodies! I need to see some fucking bodies right now! Nobody gets dropped! Everyone gets caught! fucking send it!
It's now time for the last fight against the Espeon Dancer. I lead with Hatergator, who is somehow not as fast as an Espeon that is 4 levels below him. Jesus Christ, these things are fast. Luckily, Hatergator is able to eat its confusions like they're nothing and just gnaws down the Espeon. Our reward for clearing this gauntlet of geishas is the Surf HM, which I gladly throw into Hatergator, giving him yet another powerful spike. Hatergator is starting to grow too strong. I'm actually getting a little scared. I don't know if anyone's gonna be able to stop him. All right, after paying homage to the late great Andy Kaufman and beating a bunch of women in fights, it's now time for us to get ready for our next gym battle, where we have to beat on the elderly. The Ecruteak City gym is a ghost type gym. Ghost type Pokemon are in a very weird spot in Gen 2. They don't have a very wide range of stab moves to work with. There are so many normal type Pokemon in the game that are immune to their offensive moves, and they pretty much all can learn Bite. They all want to be special attackers, but Ghost is a physical type for some reason. And on top of that, there's only like 4 of them. So yeah, we start fighting the trainers and figuring out the puzzle, which is pretty much just an invisible maze slash memory game that you have to figure out by trial and error. No big deal.
And then I go that way. Oh god. Oh my god.
There are trainers here who vaguely resemble the lovely, lovely ladies of the Pokemon Tower, but their dialogue isn't nearly as funny. I miss my Gorals. Well, after a bunch of uneventful trainer fights where they almost had good strategies with Curse and Mean Look if they weren't constantly killing themselves with it, it's now time to start beefing up the team. I force feed a bunch of tasty treats to my Pokemon. Don't worry, they like them. And while doing that, the dude ends up evolving into Graveler. Yeah! Damn, she's thick as hell! Alright, while we're doing our in-game prep, I think this is a good time to talk about the next gym leader, Morty.
Hey Morty, we have to go to the Home Depot and get components for our home improvement project.
I don't know, I don't fucking watch Rick and Morty. His team is filled with a bunch of Gengar Evolution line Pokemon. Poor Misdreavus, not getting any rep in her own region. What's funny about Morty is that his team has almost no ways to deal direct damage to normal type Pokemon besides Dream Eater on Gengar, and it needs to hit Hypnosis before it can do that. The main way his team tries to deal damage is by comboing Curse and Mean Look or Hypnosis. Curse is a move that, when used by a Ghost type, will reduce the user's HP by half, but afflict your Pokemon with a Curse that will do 25% of their HP and damage at the end of every turn. And Mean Look can be used to then lock your Pokemon from switching out, forcing them to die a slow and painful death. So while we definitely have the advantage going in, we do have to be mindful of this combination. It's time to tee up. Hey yo, why does he look like Solid Snake though? We begin the battle against Morty by leading with Hatergator into his Ghastly. Hatergator is able to easily one-shot with Bite, bringing in the level 21 Haunter next. It unfortunately outspeeds and gets us with the turn 1 Hypnosis. Fantastic. It follows up with the Nightshade, doing a small chunk of our health bar while we don't get lucky with the Wake Up. It then sets up the Curse, which really puts the pressure on us now. Hatergator is officially on a timer. If he doesn't wake up soon, he's dead. Luckily, Hatergator is a fucking goat and wakes up immediately to finish off the Haunter. Now comes in his ace, Gengar, which puts us in a weird position. You see, because Hatergator is already cursed, the AI will never click Curse here, which means its only 2 options are Mean Look or Hypnosis. If it clicks Mean Look on Hatergator, I don't know if Hatergator will be able to outdamage it before succumbing to Curse. However, if I switch out to predict this and it goes for Hypnosis, I'm also taking a risk of it putting whoever I bring in to sleep. On top of that, I also need to consider that whoever I switch in next could also be Mean Look, which would force them into a 1v1 with the Gengar. I weigh all of my options and make the call. I switch Knock Loose in. Gengar does end up going for the Mean Look, preventing us from being able to switch out. But then, disaster strikes. Knock Loose gets hit with Hypnosis the next turn. I am now asleep and unable to switch out, so I just have to sit back and watch as Gengar uses Dream Eater turn after turn, completely powerless to stop it, leading to Death 4 of the series. With Knock Loose now expired, I bring in Laika to try to avenge him. Turn 1, Gengar botches a Hypnosis, and we get some decent damage with a Bite. We don't get as lucky the next turn, and Laika is put to sleep, but she hasn't been Mean Looked, so we can still switch out. I bring in Kenya, who then proceeds to dodge not 1, not 2, but 3 Hypnosi to clutch up the kill on Gengar. What is it with Fearos and being absolute mad lads in my runs? Kenya is able to finish off the last Haunter with ease, and with that, we obtain the 4th gym badge alongside the TM for Shadow Ball, an actually good Ghost-type move. Our celebration is cut short as we go to bury Knock Loose, whose sacrifice ensured our victory. I was visited by death again, and upon loss, everything is quiet now.
No, we're not doing the fucking fucking Charlie Kirk thing. Get that shit out of here.
Anyways, I teach the Shadow Ball TM to Bailey, and now it's time for us to take another shot at the Heracross encounter. We head on over to Route 42 and start headbutting trees. Oh look, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. This time we actually catch the Ekans, and I get very creative with the naming. Well, there's nothing else really left for us to do on Route 42 at the moment, so let's head on back. I realized actually that there's really no reason for me to not be evolving the dude at this point in the game, so I decided to just go for it. Unfortunately, while I was tabbing out to open PK Hex, get my link cable to trade between my two legally obtained cartridges, I forgot to restart OBS when I started playing again, so the following is a professionally animated rendition of everything that happened. The dude morphs into her final form, Golem, an absolute beast of a Pokemon to have at this point in the game. With this newfound power, we start exploring Route 38, a very crucial area of the game for us. In this area, we have the chance to encounter either a Magnemite, a Miltank, or a Tauros. All three of these Pokemon would be massive grabs, so I'm really hoping we get one of them and not any of the other junk here. I peruse through the grass and I end up encountering a Magnemite, whom I named Jesse.
Yeah, bitch! Magnet!
Everyone say hello to our non-binary royalty. Jesse immediately proves their worth as they annihilate the plethora of slowpokes that the trainers have on this route. We then head on over to Route 39, where we speak to a farmer whose Ruroid gibberish is barely intelligible. But I am able to piece together that his Miltank is feeling sick, and it's all the Democrats' fault. Somehow. So out of the generosity of my heart, I go check out the sick Miltank and feed it all of the berries in my bag, only for it to not feel any better. Fuck this shit, and fuck this farmer!
Kill the poor! The farmer!
Hope the tariffs make you lose your business, asshole. After fighting a few more trainers on Route 39, I finally realize my error and restart OBS. We're so back, baby. By the way, if you think I'm using these mistakes to cover up a loss or mistake or fix an encounter, I would like to refer to you back to episode 5. Say what you want about me, but goddamn it, I have integrity. If I make a mistake or fuck something up, you're gonna hear about it. Don't you worry. Also, wow, Golden's back sprite really fucking sucks in this generation. Woo! We're finally here at Olivine City. I wonder what awaits us here. Okay, so Subclub isn't here to fight us. He just wants to talk shit and inform us that the gym leader isn't home. She's apparently tending to a sick Pokemon, and oh my god, cool it there, Subclub. You're sounding like Mother Teresa there. Well, after he moves along, we go heal up and head back up to Route 39 for our encounter. After a bit of back and forth, we end up getting a Miltank. Hell yeah! After quite a bit of Great Balls and Pokeballs thrown at it, because of course a Miltank can never make anything easy, we do eventually catch it, and I name her Kemps. Alright, now that we are at Olivine City, I think now is a good time to talk about the mid-game level caps of Gen 2 and how fucked they are. Here are the level caps for the next 3 gyms. Notice anything odd about them? Yeah, they're completely out of order. These gyms have a similar setup to Gen 1 gyms where you can kind of pick your order for how you tackle them. But even taking that into account, it's a pretty intense window for us to navigate. So with that in mind, we're gonna have to keep a close eye on our levels and build our teams accordingly. If you're playing this game without rare candies, god fucking speed, soldier. Speaking of rare candies, Sprout ends up evolving into a Weeping Bell. Heh, good for you. It is now time for us to begin the precarious climb up the lighthouse. Many of the trainers we end up fighting keep saying they're here to bring back the gym leader, but all these trainers make it harder to make it to the top and bring her back down. Man, that sounds like crabs in a bucket mentality to me. Speaking of crabs, we end up making it to the top and find the gym leader selfishly abandoning her gym leader duties to nurse a sick Pokemon back to health. She begs us to go to Cianwood for her to get some medicine to save Ampharos, which fine, I guess. On our newfound journey where life or death hangs in the balance, I get distracted by the Battle Tower, a Gauntlet style challenge where I bring 3 of my Pokemon and fight against stronger than usual trainers. You know what? The infrastructurally necessary Pokemon's life can wait. Let's take on this challenge. Also, during the Pokemon Tower challenge, Nuzlocke rules won't apply, so if I lose to anyone, my Pokemon won't die. This is for funsies, okay? Let me have fun! Alright, I'm bringing the dream team of Hater Gator, the Dude, and Joshy. I think this is a team that will cover enough bases for me to be able to beat at least a few trainers. We register our team, head in to face our first opponent, and he leads with a lantern? That's like the one Pokemon that can counter everyone on my team. Anyways, moving on. We have very important work to do. Gotta go, save a life and all that. Can't get distracted or anything. We hop on Hater Gator and then surf through Route 40 and run into a Tentacool who we name Cruella. Then we end up in Route 41 where I encounter a Mantine that I catch and I name Mantime! Someone that will surely be a positive role model to young boys everywhere. After a long and frankly excruciating surf through the 2's, we end up at Cianwood City. It's like a bumfuck middle of nowhere island. I mean, where do they get off calling this a city? I take the opportunity to get my team ready for the next gym before exploring the city. As we're exploring, we end up running into a familiar face. The blue horse thing from the burn tower or whatever his face is. He ends up hopping away and then immediately after scene shows up, bitching about how he once again got cucked by the fact that we got to see Suicune and he didn't. In a fit of rage and jealousy, he challenges us to a battle. He leads with Drowsy into Hater Gator. Hater Gator gets a bite off while Drowsy misses a hypnosis. The next turn we hit another bite, but this time Drowsy doesn't miss, forcing us to switch into Mantime. Mantime is able to outspeed and finish off Drowsy with Takedown. Now comes Electrode, a literal hard counter to Mantime, and I didn't bring the dude. Sprout comes in and takes a Thunder, but gets paralyzed. Electrode ends up missing a Screech, and we fire back with a Vine Whip that does absolutely nothing. Electrode then tries to set up a rollout, but misses again, and Sprout, against all odds, gets off a Sleep Powder, which allows me to do a switch. I switch an Expensive and try to set up Leech Seed, but Electrode ends up waking up the next turn and gets off a Screech. However, the Leech Seed lands, and Electrode goes for a rollout combo. I set up Reflect to counter the Screech defense drop and then chip it down with Confusion from there, even landing a Hypnosis. Holy fuck, Expensive is like a get out of jail free card. Lastly is Haunter, who gets manhandled by our girl Kenya, who continues her Hypnosis dodge streak. We send Scene packing once again. With that out of the way, we head over to the Cianwood City Pharmacy, which after reading the sign raises some suspicion that this is one of them alt medicine places. Well, the pharmacist gives us some nondescript potion.
I want your strongest potion.
And assures us that this will definitely cure the Ampharos of its nondescript illness. We go and talk to this other kid who informs us that someone matching Subclub's description came by, and he was just so stunned by his aura that he just gave him a Pokemon. And then out of fear of him coming back, offers to give us his other Pokemon? This is the most pathetic person I have ever seen. Anyways, he gives us Shucky the Shuckle, and it's now time for us to take on the next gym badge. Okay, before I do that, there is an elephant in the room that we need to address, and that's the Gen 2 mid-game. Remember the fucked up level caps I mentioned earlier and how we can fight them in whatever order we want? Well, I think I have my order figured out. We're just gonna go by order of level caps. This means I'm going to fight Chuck here in Cianwood City, then skip Jasmine after we finish the medicine quest and head to Price, before then backtracking to fight Jasmine. Even routing the gym fights in this way will be tricky because of how tight the gaps are between gyms, so it will be very important to rely on my box of Pokemon to get me through all these fights without over-leveling. Alright, so now that we have a plan, let's head into Chuck's gym. There is a unique gimmick here where because of how the trainers are positioned and the fact that double battles aren't a thing yet, you are forced to fight these two trainers back to back without a break. Expensive is a damn nuisance in this gym, being able to set up Leech Seeds and Reflects while also resisting fighting moves. Heh, Yoshi! After fighting through the first batch of trainers, I remember I need a Pokemon that can use Strength to take care of this very difficult puzzle, so I go back to grab the dude. I do also end up evolving Cruella into Tentacruel while I have the opportunity. Luckily, my puzzle rating on chess.com is very mediocre, so I'm able to solve the strength puzzle with no issues. We fight one last trainer who I'm able to hilariously stall out after he starts a rage combo because Leech Seed doesn't do direct damage, so it doesn't proc rage. We do some last second preparations for Chuck before approaching him. He attempts to intimidate us with a display of strength, but that doesn't scare me. Okay, wow, holy shit, that was actually really fucking impressive. That was a really big fucking rock. Okay, no worries. The battle begins with this Primeape versus Kenya. Kenya takes a chunk out of it, but Primeape goes for a Leer, lowering her defense. She finishes off the Primeape, and now Poliwrath comes in. Kenya does a little over a quarter with a peck, but then takes a fucking Dynamic Punch. A high power move that's a 50-50 to land, while being -1 defense. Miraculously, Kenya lives by just a sliver, but I'm forced to switch out. Expensive comes in and takes him, another fucking Dynamic Punch, which while it doesn't do that much damage, it does end up confusing Expensive. I switch Expensive out into Sprout to drop the confusion, but then Poliwrath lands a Hypnosis, prompting me to once again have to switch back into Expensive. On the switch, Poliwrath goes for another Dynamic Punch, but finally misses. It then lands a Hypnosis on the next turn, which would have sucked, but I accounted for this and equipped a Mint Berry to Expensive before the fight, waking him up and allowing him to get a Leech Seed up.
I am always
2 steps ahead.
Polyrath misses hypnosis, and we end up getting off the reflect. And from there, it's a slow, bleeding death for Polyrath. Badge number 5 secured, baby. I guess in this case, brains really does beat brawn, huh? After defeating Chuck, we go and chat up his wife outside the gym, who rewards us with the Fly HM for putting her husband in his place. And I guess also fat shaming him? Jesus fucking Christ, kicking him while he's down.
It's just water weight. If it wasn't water weight, could I do this?
Well, we teach Fly to Kenya and head on back to Olivine City, scale up the lighthouse once more, and then deliver the super secret potion to Jasmine. She gives Ampharos the medicine, and then we are immediately flashbanged by it. With Jasmine's work here completed, and by her, I mean my work, she returns to her gym, and I think this is a good place for us to stop. Hey, if you want to, you can follow me on some social media, like, hold on, what do I have here? I got a Letterboxd account, so you can see my dumb movie takes. I have a Blue Sky. Does anyone even use Blue Sky? I mean, Twitter kind of sucks, so I don't know. But I'm on chess.com. Wow, I'm like on no social media. Well, okay, anyways, tune in next time as we continue on our journey through the latter half of Gen 2 and eventually the Elite Four. See ya!
I saw it.